Okay, let me move this down. Okay, finally. Hey guys. Okay, so I tried to do this yesterday. Um, this is my first little weekly review video, so I'm new to this. Hi. Y'all are seeing me in my garage right now because the kids are noisy. So, yeah. I mean, even if I go in a room, they're going to interrupt me, whatever. They may still pop up in here. So, I'm going to learn how to edit that out. If not, y'all might hear some kids in the background. So anyway, welcome. Let's go over a few trades. What I wanted to do, I've gotten a few requests for a kind of an analysis on how I looked at things, and so I wanted to kind of go over what we talked about last week and how I played it this week, because I did play everything that we talked about last week on the weekend shift. So I just want to let you guys know what happened. All right, so getting to it. First, we'll talk about AMGN, right? Okay, let's look at it on a monthly, because what we were doing was we were looking for this to push above this monthly target, well, this monthly trigger to break this broadening formation, but it was having trouble. Wrong one. So we were trying to fill this gap, and as you can see, like, it took all week, and it did, and then it just rejected, and then it kind of ended on a good note. So the way I played this is I was in here. I honestly don't remember what day. I maybe just post it once I, you know, go through this video and post it. I want to say it was here, because I believe I got stopped out on Thursday, um, because it broke back below this monthly trigger. So yeah, I want to say I swung it Wednesday, and then I got stopped out for a small loss on Thursday. Um, I wasn't upset with it because it really was a small loss. I think I lost like $20 on the trade. And so then I was like, we still have a few days left in the month. So if it's still going, then I'll just get back in. As you can see, we have full time frame continuity here. So this still looks good, and we closed above the monthly trigger. So it has this thing where it does like these really harsh sell-offs, and then it just won't move for a while. So I'm not really quite sure how it's going to move on Monday, but it doesn't really matter. I'm going to be looking for an entry, since it is, as long as it stays above this monthly trigger. And then, with the ATR, it can make it to the monthly target before the end of the month. It's just a slow mover, and it has this thing where it starts off with really slow volume, and then the volume comes in. So that's it on AMGN. I think that's still good. Next, I wanted to talk about Hun. So Hun was another one we were looking at for the monthly trigger. Come on, why are you not? Okay. I'm not sure. First of all, I don't even know what this is. What is this? All right, we took that off. I have no idea what that was. Um. Okay, so Hun. Here's our monthly trigger. So Hun, we were looking at last week, and it triggered. And then if you can see this sort of how it came like so close to making that 3 on the month. I mean, we still have time, so it could still make the 3 on the month. But I mean, it came within 50 cents, so I played it. And I did send an alert out on Twitter. Um, but I wanted to show you a couple of things. So it did the 3 on the week. I'm not okay. There we go. It did the 3 on the week, and what I really, really, really loved about this trade was that the monthly and the weekly were like so close together. So when I notified Twitter, when I posted about it, we were here. And I said, okay, well, this, it's done that classic. We took out those stops from last week, right? Did the two up, and then we failed. So on this day, I'm like, all right, if we break this two down, the target for that two down will be the trigger for the monthly and the weekly outside. So I'm like, okay, well, looking at this on a 4 hour gives you a little bit better. That was just, it was such a beautiful rejection of that broadening formation. Like it couldn't get through there. So I got in about, let's say here, when we did that two down, and then wrote it down to this target. Now, um, for me, it was a swing because we closed like right above that target. But my stop, I had already, I was already in. So I went ahead and swung it for it to go to that weekly target. So then, as you can see, the next day, that next morning, boom, we hit that weekly target. I was out. I really liked that. Was a great trade. That was a nice little 100%. And then then we had a little bit of corrective activity. Came right back up to this 8. And market conditions for me, it was like, this is going to reject because it wants to go to that monthly target. No, it wasn't hopium. It was just me watching price action and just saying, okay, it broke above the 8 here, rejected that broad information. Like, if we don't break here, we're not going to make a higher high here and break out of this downtrend that we have. So that rejection right there was like, okay, I'm going to go ahead and swing a put because we closed under both of these triggers. We closed under there before the end of the day. So that was like an end of the day put for me where I got in, and my stop was at the top of this candle here. So as you can see, the next day, we didn't reach my stop. I held all day. We came all the way down. Boom, I was out. I was out at this reversal just because I kept moving my stops up, and we had such a hard reversal at the end of the day. I just went ahead and took my profits because it was entirely too close to the monthly target. Like, there's no reason for me to. I've actually held on to something because I'm like, okay, we're like 40 cents away from the target, and then the thing reverses. Like, that psychologically made no sense. Like, I really beat myself up about that, and that was the last time I beat myself up about that. I mean, take your profits, move your stops up, and that's what I always do when I have winning positions. If I'm monitoring them and wanting to, take my profit, I take my profit, and then I move my stops up. So that was Hun. And then we talked about SPY. So SPY was so beautiful this week. SPY and then my next ticker were like my best trades this week. So we had a power week, and this outside week kind of played with us for a little bit. But SPY did the same thing. Like I was just saying, speaking with was it Hun? I was just telling, yeah, Hun. So, this is Monday. It's the day. Chop City. It's a doji day. This is a lot of times why I don't like to play Mondays. I really don't. The setup has to be super strong for me. Otherwise, I'm watching and letting, the market kind of decide what it want to do. And then so Tuesday, we pushed up. We took all these folks out here from last week. That whole last week, all these stops are out. But we draw our Barton formations and we see that there's a hard resistance right here. And even though we closed in it with the hammer, one thing I talked about last week is about how market makers paint the close. If you're nowhere in a bearish trend, even though we're not technically in a bear market, like at that point we weren't in a bear market yet, you know that it's a strong, it has to break a certain level for it to go back bullish. Otherwise, we're still in sell the rip mode. So, this is actually a good position to short, right? Not necessarily. For me, I wanted to wait, mostly because Powell was talking the next day. So I didn't want to, buy a put or buy a call at that point. Next day we open, boom. I mean, gap down. And I mean, all the people who bought here who thought, oh, we're turning bullish, we're getting out here. Yeah, no. They bought at the breakout, as Sarah and Robert would say. You know, they bought in at the breakout, and you don't buy when they TTO. Let it, you know, make a little support there and then keep going or something. But yeah, so they got trapped. It turned back down. And so now looking at this on the 4 hour, I love the 4 hour as well, just because it's a little bit shorter than the daily. But this it's the same thing with this two up, two down. So when we opened, we were already on a two down, right? Powell speaking, Powell speaking, Powell speaking. We're like, oh, okay. No, actually, no, this is 9:30, so he didn't speak yet. But we're already at this trigger, right? So around here is when he started speaking, where we opened below this next two and below the weekly trigger. So if you weren't already in there, let's see, the 1 hour, I believe for me, the 18th, I'm going to post it. I'll put it somewhere. But look at that. That was actually beautiful how it ran up into that resistance and then fell. As far as entry, if you're looking at this, how it crossed under this 8 here, we got a nice rejection here, 212 down. That was, yes, I believe I bought here this retest for SPY. Was it 130? Yes, I believe so. I'll see if I can post and be exact, but at this 190, 394, right? So, you know, Powell speaking, we're tanking. Boom. We are so close to the outside target, right? So close. If you know SPY, you take your profits, right? Take those profits. Let it get some corrective activity going. Boom, there's your corrective activity. Came back up, TTO'd them out, right? And then we came back down. And this is Friday. And Friday we came all the way down to the target. So Friday was just beautiful. But as you can see, once it made this resistance, it fell down. It couldn't make another high. You know, if anything, it just took some folks out, people who got in here and put their stops there, took some of those folks out, and it kept on going down to that target. Even though this was strong, now right here, even though this was kind of strong, it wasn't strong enough to break this weekly. So a lot of times, like, I like to put my stop a little below where that is for this type of corrective activity. You know, this is your trigger. This is your, I'm going to get in. So, of course, your stop would be, you know, a little bit beyond that. Give yourself a little bit of room for it to correct and keep going. So, it's a couple of different ways you can play that. I just wanted to kind of point that out. So, next, those are the three that we talked about last weekend. And I want to talk about AMD next. So, AMD has been bae for like the last 2 weeks, I'll say, because the last 2 Fridays, like, I've just been done very well with AMD. All right, so this week though, this past Friday, this past week, AMD triggered the monthly. So I played this actually both ways. I played it when it went up, and then I played it on the way back down on that rejection. So I'm going to show you how. So as day trades, this is how I played AMD this week. All right, so this is Monday. And as you see on Monday, we had like a really fake out. This is a kind of another way to even paint the close. Like, I'm not going to necessarily say that folks are out here specifically to get retail, but it's like they do come for your money. They can see your stops. They come for your stops. Like, this is kind of a painting the we're about to fall kind of close. This it's a shooter on the day. It was very strong bearish pressure on Monday. So if on Monday you saw this rejection and you bought, you know, put because it's a shooter and it closed down here, you're cooked, right? You're cooked because it's going to open up all the way up here. Like that's just things I wanted to point out. But anyway, this is also another reason why I don't like to play on Mondays, because you don't know what would happen with Tuesday. So I don't really like to get into positions to swing on Mondays, not knowing if we're going to have a turnaround Tuesday or whatever. So Tuesday, AMD opened above the monthly trigger, and I'm just okay. We got a little range going here. So the thing about that, though, I think I'm here. Oh, there's my line. So the thing about that, though, even though it broke this, I knew that this resistance was here. So I didn't really think it would make it to that monthly target of 111. Not last week anyway, not with, the way things were going and things like that, but you can still play it because, that's a nice move. Even 97 to 100, it's a few dollars. It's a little tiny gap there. That's that I thought it was going to try to fill. And as you can see, it went even further. So that was absolutely wonderful. Took that and ran. So then, come on. So then we have our beautiful TTO in 3. I did not play this. I forget what this was Wednesday. So everything was dropping that day. I was in SPY, so I wasn't in AMD that day, but it did catch my attention because of the 3. So, knowing that it had just ran up and rejected, I was like, okay, well, maybe it may be ready to come back down, especially if the market is going to be red. So we did the 3, and then we did the 2. And so Thursday, I was looking at it Thursday after close, because if it's something that I think I posted about this on Tuesday. Yeah, when I got in on Tuesday, I posted about it. So a lot of times, if I'm posting something for like a weekly SSR, if it triggers and it fails, I'm still watching that because it might outside week in the other direction or whatever. So oftentimes, if it's a weekly play, I am still watching it and making sure, or not making sure, but like just trying to see what direction it will go, and maybe even playing it both ways. And I'll show you that in the next example. All right, so AMD, here is where I knew this is how I played this. So here's that rejection on Wednesday. Thursday, we did this. And then we had a 3-1. I love 3-1s. I love 3-1s for their range. Usually because you can catch this like 96.58 to the 95.13s, like $1.50. Solid. If it keeps going, you might be able to catch it to this 94, right? So when I got in at that break, just anticipating to take it to here or possibly to here. Because it was going to be a 3-2 down if it broke. So then this was my next target. Then of course I had this resistance line that it had broke. I didn't know if it was going to make a support. Actually, it kind of did. So then, as you can see, it kept going. But anyway, back to the 4-hour. I just want to say that from here I got in. That was my target. I took profits here. And then when it came down to that next target, I took profits there. And then my runner, I just let it run until I got stopped out on this when it moved back up. So AMD was really a fire trade. Just awesome. All right, so next is Oxy. So I need to point something out to Oxy folks. We in the Strat community have been playing Oxy since about 36. Well, I have, let me say. Because that was, for me, I was looking at that. I believe I started with Oxy on the quarter. Looking at it, and I was like, oh, yeah, we got lots of room. So I've been screaming Oxy for a long time, saying, "Oh, Oxy can go at least to the 80s." I felt like it can go more, but I felt like 80s were like a consolidation period for a long time. I mean, look at how long it stayed in the 80 area. So yeah, so knowing that Oxy hit its yearly magnitude, right? Think of the psychology of this. If you had got in here at 36 and your target was here or here, would you not take profit? Because that's what we're supposed to do, right? We hit the target, you take profit. I feel like that's what happened. Um, and even though we have full time frame continuity, it changed a bit because Oxy has this pattern that I've noticed since I started playing it back in the 30s when it first broke out. So Oxy likes to break out and then it likes to come back to this 9. Break out, come back. Break out, come back. Consolidate, break out, come back. Break out, come back. So once we did this and we hit this is yearly magnitude, in my mind, yeah, we're going to reverse. People are going to take profits. We need a little rest. We need to come back down to this 9 so that, we can or make our way to the next leg up. Look how we did that here. We did that, came all the way back to the 9, and then we rested a little bit before boom. That's what Oxy does in my experience. So, I expected this. And when we did this 2 down, I was in. Boom, 2 down. That was my target. Went a little bit more, but then, that was beautiful. I did not play the rest of these because I was in other stuff. But, I mean, from right there, you actually could have swung that through the rest of the week to this 9 and just kept moving your stops up. So I think that Oxy on the week is interesting. It's the same thing with the 9. Look, on the week, it does the same thing. It took a while to get back here, but it's respecting this 9 EMA. So 1, 2, 1, 2 what? 1, 2, 2 down. 1, 2, 2 up. I mean, this is a hard weekly resistance we have right here. So I don't, the last time we tried once, came all the way down to the bottom, couldn't even quite make it there, came all the way down to the bottom. So, actually price is expanding this running formation here. So, I mean, we're still good full time frame for the most part. Just the week was down because, of course, profit taking. So, I'm still watching Oxy because this could be a good 2 down to 60 area, maybe. Not sure if it will come all the way down to 57, but it could. Market conditions, we don't know. But I think Oxy is still a good watch. The days, those 222s. So, all right. So, the last thing I wanted to do was I wanted to look at a couple of things that I was looking at this week. McDonald's. On the month, we're 2 down. We haven't finished. So, we could, but making a nice little H there. Still have a little bit of room there. I like McDonald's. But we are far from this 9, which we have respected. So, we've dropped a lot. Possibly could need some corrective activity, which would be a little bit of a bullish run to drop some more. We have a gap here. And we have a little teeny tiny gap. It's about $1 gap at 222. It may make its way down too, but it may need to, correct and make another H. So it's a bullish hammer here on the day. 234 break could come up to the, and it's right at the 9 to 239. So that's on watch. On the 4-hour, based a little bit there. So 3 2 2 up or 3 2 2 down. All not quite sure. Next is Starbucks. So Starbucks on the month, again, still room to drop. On the weekly, we have a 2-1. I know I like inside weeks. It's a little tight there. We got room to come up here or drop. But on the day, we have a bullish hammer, and we broke above the 9. And we have a little bit of room to the next little resistance level. So watching Starbucks to go either way. Starbucks has pretty decent cheap contracts. So let's see here. Oh, they tried to fill the gap here. I kind of have to see what Starbucks does. And then targets. Oof. I just wanted to like say that candle, it's not even normal. Like, look how Target moves. And then this like just took out all of these stops over here. It's like, boom. So, you know, a lot of times if something is gapped up like that, it may try to come back up to the 9. It's got a lot of gap to fill, but you know, a nice little bullish run, it may. All gaps don't get filled. Look, we still got one up here. You know, it could take a year to get back up there. It could take a year to fill this gap. Who knows? But either way, you know, we do have a little bit of a hammer here on the day. So watching that either way. 1, 2, 2. So yeah, we might try to do a little push. WDC. We have a rev strat potential week. So 1, 2, 2 rev strat. I mean, we're bullish here, but you know, we may need to come back down here on the month. Oh no, I think I was looking at this wrong, because we do have full time frame continuity here. I think I was looking at the 1, 2, 2 continuation. The thing about it is even though I'm giving this type of analysis of how I'm looking at stuff, if it's on my list, I'm ready to play it either way. So I like this 1 hour. I mean, it's 4 hour. I think that's what it was. This is red, but I believe it was the fact that this has been, for the most part, filled. Made a new lower low here. So we might want to go back into time frame continuity. We may, this is a little bit like Oxy. We may need another little bit of a rest, but it's still bullish. And on the 4 hour, I really like that one. With a break of 56.92 to 58.68, which is a $2 move. So that's dope. I believe that was it. No. Yep, I believe that was it. I wanna look at SPY. Oh, I know, not SPY. Q. I'm sorry. There we go. Look at the Qs. So I've been playing Apple a lot lately, and you know, just want to point something out. We are at 322 on the quarter, and we've hit one target. Wait, is that it? Oh yeah, 1, 2 targets. We still have a third one, but it may need some corrective activity first. So we just have to see. We are pretty far away from the EMAs on the weekly, but not necessarily on the daily. So kind of have to see how tomorrow goes, to kind of see, you know, I guess how it opens. Tomorrow could be a doji day again. I tend to find that a lot of times when things do threes, it likes to follow with a one sometimes because I like those setups. Maybe I'm just speaking that out there because I like those setups. I like 3-1s a lot. Um, I guess mostly, like I said, because of the range, but the 3-2 could be just as well. It could be just as well. So anyway, that's all I have for y'all now. That's my little week in review, kind of what I'm looking at. I don't. I used to do a lot of homework over the weekend, but I realize I just look at certain things for the week, and then I just keep looking, especially on Mondays and Tuesdays. And by Tuesdays, usually I've chosen my weekly swings. So yeah. Anyway, thanks you guys for watching so much. And I will see you next time. Happy trading.